So then what we need to do, we need to open a new file, and what we're going to do is name it handle.php. So we want to file, save as, handle.php. Alright, so this is going to be a PHP script which has all of our handling form junk. Okay, so what we can do is we can copy this setup and use it again for here. So now this is what we have. We put information in, we submit it, and it will bring us to our handle form right here. So this page is right here. So as you can see, when you click submit, look at the URL up at the top. Right now it's newsletter.php. When we submit it, it takes it to handle form. Now if we can make the handling, not handle form, handle.php, if we can make handle.php do something with that PHP, then we will be good. Alright, so what we want to do is we want to start typing PHP. So what you can do is you can either open up PHP tags, or you can modify the system so all of it is within one giant PHP tag. So you'd get rid of this, get rid of this, get rid of this, and then you would drag this down to the bottom. But I'm just going to keep it separate because you can do that with PHP, and I think it keeps it more organized. But it really doesn't matter. The other way would probably be better. Yeah, I'm teaching you bad habits. I don't really know. But anyways, what we want to do within here is in our last video, what we did, we tested those values. So we created if statements, which tested something, and then ran something. And then within this if statement, we had a function, such as not empty. What this will do is it will check if our form is not empty. And if it's true, it will do something. So what we need to do is within parentheses of the function, we say, all right, what are we testing to see if it's empty or not? And we are testing request, square brackets, quotation marks, name. So this is connecting us to the input type name equals name. So whatever we put in here, this is going to we're going to test that here by putting this. So if it's not empty, that means it has a value. And what we can do, we test if it has a value. If it's not empty, whatever we put here will be ran. So we can echo something such as it has a value. And then we can submit this with a value, and it will give us a result. If we don't give it a value, nothing happens. So we're just going to build off of this concept. We're going to make it a little more advanced, and if you want, you can assign these to shorthand variables to make things easier for you. So you could go request name. So now then we could echo out name. Watch this. And we put a value in here. Hey, submit it, and it echoes that value out. So that's an example of a dynamic web page. It changes by what we put into the forms, for example. All right, so that's what we're going to do here. We're just going to assign it to a shorthand variable. That's basically saying if it has a value, we want to take that value and assign it to this variable. That way we always know that this variable has a value. Because if we didn't do this test, we'd use name. So for example, if we didn't test this, we just did this, and then we echoed out name. Well, it could be a problem because we don't know if they put a name in it. If we submit it with a value, it does echo it out. But if it doesn't, it's blank. So it could come to problems when we're like, hello, name, and then we go back. That was wrong, so let me fix that. Save that, and then we submit it, and it just says hello, whatever the name is. But if we leave it blank, it causes a problem because it does not put the name there. So we want to always test to make sure we have the proper value. We want to know that it has a value, and then if it does, we can assign it to the variable name. Now what we're going to do is just copy this concept by Control-C and we are going to paste it again, and this time we're going to go for the email, and then we're going to assign it to a shorthand variable email like this. So we're just replacing name with the word email, and then we want to go back, enter a name, and then we can put an email in too. And what we can do is just echo these out so we can see if it worked. Submit bro, hey too. So obviously it worked. If we didn't put email in, it would just put hey, and that's how you can test it if you would like, but we're not really doing that for this. Oops. So what we're going to do is just leave it like that. And now we used not empty for the input types of text, but for the radio buttons, we want to do something a little bit different. So what we're going to do is actually first we're going to bring all this to the front of the page because that is unnecessary spacing. This is what we have now. What we're going to do is just sort of do the same thing, but we're going to use the isSet function. So now this will test to see if these are set. If it is set, it will become true. So within here, we just say we're going to indent these because they're within the if statement. So this is what we have now. Everything looks good. And what we want to do now is we want to say, okay, if they don't have a value, we want to assign them the value null. So to do this, we need to make else statements. And we can just do this for all of them because they're pretty much the same. Man, my hands are so cold. It is freezing in here. Anyways, what we want to do now is we say if it's false, we want to assign it a null value with no quotation marks. The reason for this is if we use quotation marks, it would be a string with the value null, and it's not a string. It's an empty value. So this is what we have so far. It should be working good. And then what we can do now is that we have a test for all of these. We can further test this by creating an if statement. And if all of them have values, then the form was submitted successfully. So to do this, we say name and email and sex. The way this works is these evaluate as if you put something in here, it evaluates as true. So if name has a value, it evaluates as true. If up here it came out as null instead, that means it doesn't have a value. And null tests as false within an if statement. So this means all are true. So whatever we put in here means it's all true. And then we could make an else statement if we wanted, which means one of the group or more are false. So within this echo statement, I could say, we will email you shortly. Please go back and try the form again. And this is what we have. So let's try it out. We're going to put a name, Caleb. Email yo@hotmail.com. Never submit bro, and then we will email you shortly. If for some reason I didn't check one or I didn't put one of these in, it's going to say please go back and try the form again. And also I would like to make a link that'll take them back to the form if I wish. So to do that, within our echo statement, I could say by clicking, then make an anchor tag equals, and you can see a problem here. We've been using double quotes, so our double quotes within are messed up. So I'm going to change these to single quotes. href localhost / newsletter.php, and then here, now we're going to end that anchor tag. So basically what this does is it add a link. You can click here and it'll, newsletter. So what we want to do is we want to take out the local host here, sorry about that, and then this will be a relative path to whatever from our web page. So there it takes us back to the original web page. So that is the basics of how we check if if an input has a value using PHP and HTML forms. The reason this is in PHP is because we have to include the header and the footer. So yeah, you can integrate HTML and PHP within the same page, and we will be learning that as we go. So hopefully that was helpful. Please be sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.